All right, today we are going to be jumping back into the Bitcoin price action, taking a look at this pump we've been getting, the bullish momentum sending us all the way up to almost 64,500. We're almost at my target for this move, and we do need to be staying cautious in the markets because of that. There is still a chance Bitcoin tops out at 65K and it's game over, but only if we do see certain sentiment indicators popping off, along with bearish order flow, a swing failure pattern. A whole barrage of confluences are required for me to actually flip bearish, but certainly could happen. So we'll continue to watch this to see how price is going to play out. And as we talked about in my last video, the pump happening during the weekends was not my preferred scenario because we would be creating a CME gap. We do have that gap to the downside. If we go ahead and look at CME futures for Bitcoin from Chicago Mercantile Exchange, we do see this CME gap sitting down here from around 60,800 to 58,800, and these gaps do fill most of the time. They're not a requirement to fill. There's a definite chance we could rip to $500,000 on Bitcoin and never fill this gap. So of course anything is possible, but I would expect, potentially a pullback to here to take out those late longers. If we go over here and look on Trading Light to see what order flow is doing, when we had this move up initially, it was fueled by shorts. You can see open interest is closing throughout these uptrends within here, showing that short squeeze. And then after the squeeze, we do see continuation from longs opening, but price is going up slower. So we do see, the momentum was mainly carried by shorts, and all of these longs that have been opening throughout this range that I'm circling out right now on the chart, these are late longers and they're likely to get swept. And that is why I have this sweep level in here. The yellow line right there is a sweep level, liquidity level that I do expect to get grabbed kind of no matter what. But if we do not grab topside liquidity first, that big 64.5, 65K level from these poor highs we made back in June. Right here you can see these highs, not very good. A lot of liquidity is built up above these levels here as well as here, and there's also an inefficiency in the chart fair value gap from around this 65 to 66K level. So that's kind of what these levels represent, the gray box and all. This is where I would expect to find resistance, and if we are not able to backtest this volume level as support, we got to be worried that will be a potential short, right? Flipping that into resistance. I'm going to be shorting that just as a hedge, but it's not the end of the world. We could easily even come up there in the next 24 hours, sweep this, get back under, do a full rotation all the way back down into that CME gap, and then that would still be a bullish correction for a continuation to potentially all-time highs and whatnot. But what I would actually prefer to see is let's go ahead and pull back now. Let's keep that liquidity saved for later, right? Let's not tap it right now. Let's just pull back, fill CME, take out those late longers, and then we can have the bullish continuation up onwards and have a higher probability of actually flipping that into support. So this is something I would be looking for. If we do pull back now, certainly not something to worry about. If anything, it's just to look for long opportunities. And there's even the chance we don't fill that CME gap because on a liquidity basis, we don't really need to be filling that. It would actually make perfect sense to only pull back down to the value area high of our range before continuing on up. And that would also sweep all of these late longers to take them out before the continuation on upwards. But certainly do expect a pullback here at least sometime in the near future to reset that open interest from those late longers. Jumping back over to Trading Light, thought I'd mention this. We do see a lot of sell walls as well. And I will say price has not been respecting the sell walls all too much. We see when we had the short squeeze, we were squeezing through a lot of large limit sells in the order books over here on Binance. Price did not respect them at all, just continued to squeeze all of those shorts up until we did see the long start opening. So you do see, after this short squeeze, we see the top longers start opening positions into now these bigger sell walls, 1,000 Bitcoin sell walls kind of throughout here. And during this, we do see that's where price starts slowing down. Those buyers stepping in are having some trouble pushing through all of these limit sell walls. And I think, it is more likely that the pullback does happen sooner than getting the sweep just because of the selling pressure we have in the order books and how easy it will be to start squeezing these longs. As soon as we start making lower lows on this, 30-minute candle time frame, 15-minute candle time frame, I do expect those longs to start cascading down until we do sweep the 62.2. So yeah, this is kind of my preferred scenario. Let's go ahead, pull back now, take out those late longers. It would make sense to do because we got a lot of sellers in the order books, and assuming we can do that, especially just right now, like assuming we don't make a higher high here, these are all poor highs. So that won't be a macro top, and that was just to flush some late longers, and this is likely to get swept now. So yeah, I mean, this is kind of preferred scenario. Let's see what does kind of play out here. Of course, we can go down a lot lower to fill CME gap. Any corrections right now are bullish, and where you'd be looking for support is the sweep level into the single prints, as well as the bottom side of your single prints. And this would also go ahead and align with that CME gap. So kind of these two levels within here are where you're looking for bullish corrections, assuming we do, come down now. And then over here on my actual levels identifier chart, you can see we have a lot of previous volume levels, fair value gaps from this previous range in here. I know there's a lot of lines in general, and that's why I don't use this chart as my main one, right? This is just for me to kind of help identify levels and place them over here. But we do see all these volume levels. These are value area lows, points of control, value area highs from previous 2-month, 1-month, and weekly ranges. And then down below, we do see we got nice support on the weekly value area high of the range. So you would expect now, if we do have a pullback, for us to kind of maintain where we are right now, sweeping into the fair value gap, reclaiming value area low, or potentially coming back down this 2-month value area high, as well as the naked value area high of our previous day within there. So those are the levels I'm getting on this level identifier chart. So we know Bitcoin's looking very good. The bulls are in control for sure. We're certainly changing structure here, and this is 100% a confirmed low at 54K. If we are to break that low, yeah, you're in the bear market at that point. So that's awesome to see that we were able to get this range reclaim, as I had suspected when seeing the sentiment down here at the lows. When everyone's fearful at support, probably going to deviate back above, and all the people calling for 52K or lower are going to be wrong-footed, and that's exactly what we see. And now we'll just be waiting to see when we see sentiment flip 180 degrees, and wait to see when people start calling for 6 figures or even higher, and meme coins going to the moon, and that could be our sentiment flip that, hey, now we're turning more bearish. But so far, so good. I'm not really starting to see too much of that yet. But yeah, let's go ahead, jump off of Bitcoin and talk about some other charts. Traditional finance, because it is Monday, we want to see what the macro markets are doing. What is the dollar and the S&P up to? And we do see the S&P did get a nice retest of this volume level I had in the chart. And this is now structurally looking pretty good. I don't really have too much worries when it comes to the S&P, although I will say this is a potential good high. So there is always the chance on the S&P, golden pocket retrace, get under, fail. That's the end of the bull run. So we'll be watching this carefully, but so far structurally, yeah, it looks very good. Holding those higher lows, moving averages, volume levels very, very nicely. So that's all good to see there for the S&P. And then when we go over to the Russell, this is something that's also amazing to see. We had talked about this sweep level, how, I wouldn't really be too worried if it got swept, but definitely just to stay cautious, we wanted to see, value area high of the range hold to confirm we were actually, accepting this previous bull market range. And I'm happy to report that we did not even get any sort of back test. We have just seen continuation to the upside on this thing. And you can see that really easily on the shorter term time frames. The bulls are just not letting up on the Russell. Clearly money is flowing into this thing, and we have fully accepted back within our previous bull market range, continuing to make all-time highs for the year on the lower cap index for your stock market, indicating that this will also correlate with the altcoins and the altcoin market, and we will have our altcoin season, which we're already starting to see pretty much across the board. Stuff is mooning on the charts right now, and we'll cover that in just a second. But just FYI, on a weekly time frame, we still do not have a weekly close above this level. Last week closed pixel perfect below, and if this week were to fail and in 4 days we start closing back lower, this could still potentially just be a bull trap, and we could swing fail all of this stuff and go back and enter the bear market. So certainly not quite out of the woods yet, but so far so good. Bulls look like they're in control. And then real quickly, before we do get into the altcoin market, just an update on the dollar. After finding this perfect resistance at this level we had marked out on the charts that we wanted to find resistance at, and we wanted to break down from this macro wedge we had been in since 2023, and it absolutely exceeded my expectations, sending us all the way down below this value area high of that macro range, now giving us what looks like the chance to go ahead and visit all the way down at the value area low, or potentially even lower, with these lower highs coming in here and these very poor lows that I can almost guarantee you are going to get grabbed. We're going to make it down here further. The question is, will it be a sweep structure and we'll rip back up, claim that as the high and continue on up, or will we have true continuation all the way back down to the range lows? And in this time period here is where we could easily see Bitcoin go to all-time highs or higher. Now let's talk about the altcoins first. With the Bitcoin dominance, we're still seeing strength in Bitcoin. I had said we might see Bitcoin dominance finally start to fall with Bitcoin coming up here, but certainly not. And I think that's just because of the total market cap of crypto includes a lot of altcoins that are underperforming right now. I know in my portfolio, when I'm looking through my watch list, yeah, everything's pretty much outperforming Bitcoin, but because there just are so many altcoins and not everything is going to be a good pick this cycle. Like I've been saying, you really have to be in the best performers to really make those life-changing gains this time. It's not quite like 2021 where you can just pick any random altcoin and get at least a 10x. So it makes sense, even though we are seeing strength overall in the market, we're seeing a lot of altcoins start mooning, that Bitcoin dominance would also be just kind of continuing up here, at least just trading sideways. But I do certainly believe if it is to play out anything like last cycle on a fractal basis in the altcoin market, Bitcoin dominance should start to roll over here, and we should start to see most of your altcoins absolutely obliterating Bitcoin in gains, especially when Bitcoin starts to distribute at the highs while altcoins continue to run, which could potentially happen again this cycle, or we could see a blow off top similar to 2017. So I won't count that out of the cards. Now let's go ahead and talk about the altcoin market, because we now have reclaimed a higher high on the daily time frame, getting back above this daily EMA. This is an amazing sign to see after sweeping those lows, getting back above, fractaling last cycle very closely. If we go to 2020, where we could potentially be in the altcoin market, do I think it's going to perform quite as well? No, but let me show you what I'm talking about. First wick down during the uptrend, secondary wick to sweep that. Then we have the third wick much deeper into it, making a swing failure pattern of that much later on before the final blast off into outer space for your altcoin season of that cycle, where we do make the entire parabola for the altcoin market. We do see a very similar thing here playing out on the charts. First wick low during the uptrend, sweep of that low, and then much later on making an even bigger sweep, swing failure pattern, and now a continuation higher. Let's see if it can play out like last cycle, and we do just go absolutely parabolic right now, but still haven't quite confirmed anything yet, because we are now sitting at that value area low of our previous bull market range. If I were to pull this from all the way back around here, you will see that we have this value area low that comes in right at this kind of value area high of from the bear market range as well. So a lot of confluence here. It also looks like it's the value area high of this visible range. The visible range is showing all the way in the 2018 bear market. So who knows how accurate that is, but they are coming in right at the same level, right at around this 620 billion market cap region, right where price is sitting. This is a critical level. Let's see if we can break through this and flip it into support, because there is nothing to say if the S&P is to roll over, if the Russell's to swing fail on the weekly time frame, and Bitcoin is to fail at this like 64K level, that the altcoin market wouldn't also just do a bearish back test of this and we would roll over into the bear market. So still being vigilant in the markets, but so far so good. I love to see that the bulls are in control, and I do think we're on the cusp of breaking out into phase 2 of this cycle's bull market. But if you do have any questions about anything I talked about, or just want to join the community for this channel, make sure to check out that Discord linked at the top of the description down below, and below that you will see my premium VIP Discord. That is specifically for leverage traders, so if you're interested at all in that, want to learn more about it, go ahead and click on that link, read through all the bullet points to see what it offers. There's also more info in my Discord about that VIP channel. Check all the information for yourself to decide if it is worth it for you, and I'm running a promo right now for all of you early subscribers for that VIP. It is 50% off for the first 3 months of you signing up. So definitely make sure to go ahead and check that out as well. And I'm not done showing stuff. We have a BingX event as well right now. I'm partnered with BingX, and we're running an event for the month of July. So if you go ahead and sign up with my link down there, you will be registered to go ahead and click on the secondary link to sign up for that event, where you can get up to $7,300 worth of rewards, such as deposit bonuses, etc. Make sure to go check that out as well if you're at all interested. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.